Okay, this is question two of my A2 evaluation course. How effective is the main combination of your media product and ancillary tasks? Right, okay, so the thing about my ancillary tasks is they are very minimal. They rely a lot on geometric designs and heavy block colours. Um, Now, this intrinsically links to the aesthetic of my AS course, so much so that the fact that my double page spread even is, well, it's the same magazine, well, slightly adapted, but it is the same magazine as the magazine that I created for my AS media, and so I used the same sort of aesthetic, and I felt that this would sort of fit, I guess. I'm not entirely sure why, but it was just I felt as though I already had an effective, established aesthetic that I could use, and it would give that element of intertextuality between my two courses. And so that is why I decided to create a double page spread for the Other Side magazine, the magazine that I'd created before my S. Um, in terms of the film poster, my main inspiration for it, believe it or not, was the Goodfellas movie poster. Goodfellas, of course, being American 1990 gangster flick, you know, Martin Scorsese, all that good stuff. Um, but yeah, the way I saw it being was that the three main actors' names across the top, the title in stark white writing surrounded by darkness, and the credits out down at the bottom and small with lots of room to breathe. You can, when you look at the Goodfellas poster, then you look at my own poster, you can see sort of very similar visual similarities with the way the white sort of walls. In this case, it's a city. In my case, it's a tunnel. Move towards a vanishing point. Um, and yes, the way the tagline and titles sit centrally with the three main actors' names along the top, and in my case, it's only the one actor silhouetted by the tunnel, but in the Goodfellas case, it's the three actors staring into the camera. So obviously adapted a slight amount because I didn't want to completely rip it off. But yeah, that's the where the main design philosophy came from behind my film poster, which I'm probably sure you've already guessed. But in terms of how effective do I think that they work together, um, I feel as though if you were to view the film poster first, um, and then watch the film, and then view the double page spread, I feel as though that would be the best and most effective way to see it, because the thing about my film double page spread is that is in retrospect, and it the text on it, because I wrote it as sort of like a mini article. It sort of goes into some of the themes that are behind my short film, and I feel as though if you were to my read my double page spread before watching the film, you would be looking for things that either weren't there, or you would have some sort of like view of it that was already coloured, where the film was not made to be seen like that. The film was made to be seen um, from the first, well, from the first perspective, with like no prior knowledge whatsoever. But I feel at the same time the film poster sets up a good, well, a sort of teaser effect for the film. It's because it establishes a few main things. It establishes that it's going to be a very simple affair, because the way the poster's designed, it's going to be a very dark affair. It's going to be in monochrome, because of the monochrome image. And yeah, those were the sort of main things I was trying to establish with my poster, which I feel sort of bleed through into my film, because those are most of the like major elements that those two share. Um, in terms of how the double page spread and the film poster fit together, I wanted to sort of recall the like block aesthetic, and so that was why when I started out designing my film poster, I decided to make the text quite large and blocky, and then viewing like a few more times and after feedback and everything, I decided that I wanted a lot more empty, like sort of negative space on the film poster cover, and so I decided to basically downsize everything. And I feel as though it's more simplistic, it's more minimal, and it's more in line with both the aesthetics I established in AS for the Other Side magazine and for my film in general. Obviously, the other, probably the most obvious way, if you are viewing them all in quick succession, the link between the film poster and my film is that they share the same title card. The title card of the film is the title card of the poster. It's all done in the same font. All the text is done in the same font. And so that was another reason that I felt the film poster should be viewed first, because it's sort of it's an instantly recognisable font. It's very distinctive. It's thin. It's angular. And slightly sort of, well, sinister, I guess you could say, which is sort of the tone for the entire film. And so I decided that it would probably make the most sense to reuse that font, because I was thinking to myself, if I've already created the aesthetic, then why don't we just continue that aesthetic and give the viewers, give them, like, sort of play into their expectations, I guess you could say. Play into their expectations of how it's going to go, and make them want to find out a little bit more about what's going on, because the film poster was supposed to give a view into how the film looked. It didn't necessarily give an idea over how the actual film would play out. All that they knew was the title, and that in itself is an integral part of the film, because an integral part of the film is running away towards whatever you like. Sorry. Basically, it made the most sense to me to continue that aesthetic over. So I feel as though that's how the my poster and my actual film work together, and how I feel as though they effectively sort of coalesce. In terms of my film poster, a film poster and the double page spread, both of those things I mentioned earlier was the aesthetic stylings sort of changed between. I didn't want to use the same font, because I felt as though that would sort of give the idea that the double page spread was something directly influenced by the film poster, and something linked from the same creative team or whatever. And I didn't want to give that impression at all. I wanted to give the impression that it was a separate entity, and so that is why I chose to take the aesthetic from my AS magazine. In terms of the double page spread and the film and how they work together, this is slightly different. The way that this works is that in the film it's like heavy use of Enigma codes and symbolism, and basically a lot of stuff that goes unexplained that is left for open interpretation. And within my double page spread, I have a quote from one of the co-directors, or the other co-director, and if I can just find it a second, one moment. It goes as follows. In essence, it's a piece on futility and the cyclical nature of violence and desire. So this quote was one of the quotes we did actually use in our pitch when we were first describing the film, like in its concepts to the class, when we had a vague idea of what the story was going to be about. Even before we introduced the concept of the bag and of the chase and everything like that, we wanted it to be about a cycle of violence and a cycle of desire and envy. In this case, material envy. Obviously, it's never explained what's in the bag, and I feel as though this plays into the sort of the enigmatic nature of the film. A lot of stuff is left up to viewer interpretation, and this plays off of both the art house aesthetic we'd already discussed and talked about and shown with the character shots and everything like that, and what the double page spread is talking about. So I feel as though the double page spread sort of augments the way that you view the film in retrospect. That was how I created it to be. I didn't create it to be viewed without having seen the film, because you wouldn't understand what a lot of the time what it was talking about. And so I feel as though that's the major ways in which my two ancillary tasks and film work together. And to answer the question bluntly, I do feel that they work together. Yes, I do feel they work effectively, and they present a cohesive whole that is both aesthetically engaging and makes sense to those who've been paying attention.